Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. I am seriously thrilled you're here today because we're tackling something that causes just endless frustration for off-grid engineers and DIY solar enthusiasts alike. We're looking at voltage sag diagnostics, and we're specifically focusing on LiFePO₄ resistance and 100 amp load testing. If you've ever watched your power system just shut down under a heavy load and thought, what on earth went wrong? Well, you are absolutely in the right place. We're going to break down the live system physics and turn you into a true diagnostic detective. Okay, let's dive right into this because this is the core mystery we really need to solve today. Imagine you fire up a heavy appliance, right? It pulls a massive 100 amps of DC current. Suddenly, your inverter screams, the whole system shuts down, and the voltage reading looks absolutely terrible. Your immediate thought is probably that your super expensive lithium battery is failing. But is it? Is your battery actually weak, or is the physical architecture of your system just feeding you false information? If you go browsing around online forums or, watch typical DIY channels, you're almost guaranteed to see this exact quote: "The battery is weak under load." This is a highly simplified assumption that completely skips over the actual underlying system physics. It basically treats the battery like this magical black box that just ran out of juice, rather than actually analyzing the electrical pathway that the current is traveling through. All right, so here's our roadmap for this explainer. We're going to cover 1. The voltage sag myth, 2. The physics of the drop, 3. Step-by-step diagnostic testing, 4. Understanding LiFePO₄ behavior, and finally 5. Exposing hidden resistance. Let's kick things off with section 1, the voltage sag myth. Relying on pure assumptions in high current DC systems, it doesn't just give you a massive headache. It literally leads to totally unnecessary and super expensive battery replacements. When people experience voltage sag, the explanations you usually find online are that the battery is weak, the cables are too thin, or the inverter is pulling too much current. The huge problem with these explanations is that they completely fail to separate what's happening inside the battery from what's happening outside of it. They just don't distinguish between internal battery cell behavior, external wiring issues, or the internal protection layer, the BMS or battery management system, just stepping in to cut the power. Moving right along to section 2, the physics of the drop. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly why we have to ground our investigation in undeniable physics, specifically Ohm's law. This is the absolute core model for understanding voltage sag. Simply put, the voltage drop is equal to the load current, that's our I, multiplied by the total resistance, or R. You see, when a LiFePO₄ battery is under load, its voltage isn't just fixed. It actively changes based on the exact current being pulled and the resistance hiding inside your system. Now think about applying Ohm's law to a massive 100 amp load. Because of the power relationship, or power equals voltage times current, even a microscopic amount of resistance at this massive 100 amp scale significantly cranks up the power stress on your system. A tiny bit of resistance that you literally wouldn't even notice at, say, 5 amps, well, at 100 amps, it becomes an absolute choke point, and your voltage just plummets. To diagnose this like a pro, we really have to visualize 2 totally different spatial concepts. First up, we've got terminal voltage sag. This is the resistance and drop happening purely inside the battery cells and that internal pack structure. Second, we have cable voltage drop. That's the loss happening outside the battery, along the external path. Think your cables, bus bars, and breakers. And together, these internal and external factors combine to form basically our master equation. The loaded voltage equals the open circuit resting voltage minus the internal resistance losses minus the external resistance losses. If you look at this, you can see exactly how those math terms map right onto the physical parts of your solar setup. The open circuit voltage, that's your battery's baseline at rest. The internal resistance, that's your actual cells. And the external resistance is literally every single lug, wire, and connection point sitting between the battery and the load. All right, on to section 3, step-by-step diagnostic testing. So how do we actually test for all of this in the real world? Well, it's time to put on our detective hats. Here is the exact live system workflow you've got to follow. Step 1, measure the battery completely at rest to get that open circuit baseline. Step 2, apply a controlled heavy load, like our 100 amps. And step 3, and this is absolutely crucial, measure the voltage directly at the battery terminals while that load is actively running. Strict measurement discipline is literally the only way to find the real culprit here. Now, what's really interesting about this is the stark difference in probe placement. This highlights the single most common mistake installers make. If you measure the voltage at the inverter's input terminals, you aren't seeing true battery behavior. No way. You're seeing the combined result of the battery's internal sag plus all those cable and connection losses along the way. To know for sure if the battery itself is sagging, your multimeter probes absolutely must be directly on those battery posts. Let's dive into Section 4, Understanding LiFePO₄ behavior. Okay, so if you measure right at the battery and you do see a drop, well, we need to talk about chemistry, because lithium iron phosphate does not act anything like those old lead-acid batteries you might be used to. LiFePO₄ batteries have a super unique discharge curve. For the vast majority of their capacity, their state of charge, they hold this very flat, stable voltage plateau. They look perfectly fine right up until they reach the very end of their capacity, where they hit what we call the knee. That's where the voltage just drops sharply and rapidly. So the crucial point here is this. If your battery was reading full, and you apply a 100 amp load, and boom, you see a sudden massive voltage drop, it is highly, highly unlikely that you just magically hit that end of capacity knee. Actually, that sudden drop is almost always a resistance-driven collapse caused by that high current. This massive temporary sag tricks the battery's internal BMS into triggering a low voltage cutoff. It makes you think the battery is totally dead, when really it's just trying to protect itself from a huge resistance spike. Finally, we arrive at Section 5, Exposing Hidden Resistance. Ignoring this whole diagnostic workflow, it doesn't just mean your system might annoyingly shut off now and then. It can actually lead to some really hidden escalating dangers. At 100 amps, a poor connection, like an undersized lug or a sloppy crimp, becomes an invisible resistance source that kicks off a dangerous thermal runaway loop. It literally starts with something as simple as loose terminal torque. That loose connection causes localized heating. The heat actively cranks up the electrical resistance. Then that higher resistance causes even more voltage sag, which generates even more heat. It's a silent, escalating failure that can quite literally melt your components. Because electrical work is inherently dangerous, you've absolutely got to take action to stop these invisible bottlenecks before they start. Believe it or not, terminal quality matters way more than cable length in short DC systems. You need to ensure proper terminal torque using a real torque wrench. Guarantee you have the correct cable sizing for a massive 100 amp load. And always, always use clean, solid, professionally made crimped connections. And hey, a quick reminder, never run these high current tests without the proper protection and monitoring equipment in place. So what does this all mean? Well, voltage sag isn't just some annoying number flashing on a screen. It's an absolutely vital diagnostic signal. By isolating your measurements and really understanding the physics at play, you can stop guessing and start knowing for sure. So the next time your off-grid system suddenly shuts down under a heavy load and that voltage plummets, I want you to look right at your monitor and ask yourself this one fundamental question. Is this state of charge behavior, or is this resistance behavior? Answering that will completely change how you troubleshoot your systems forever. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.